was me sort of listening to the part of me that said, we want and we yearn for something better. And I know you've been disappointed in the past, but actually keep giving yourself a chance to have beautiful friendships and relationships. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I'm back with another Ask Chimdi from Mexico, living my best life truly. This question is from Adele. She actually sent this to me via email, and the main parts of the question are, wherever I may move to next, whether it's in the US or abroad, how do I meet dope people who know their strengths, do inner reflective work, are also humble about their internal/emotional shortcomings, and won't deny that trauma lives in their body because of all that's happened in their life? How do folks moving to new cities and meet self-aware, joyful, creative, transparent, and humble humans like you? Well, thank you very much for that series of compliments. So I think the main thing to consider is, are you a friend for yourself? I was working with one of my coaching clients, and one of her goals was actually around her personal life and her friendship life and the kind of social relationship she wanted to have in her life. And what it ultimately came down to is that the reason she wanted to create this new social circle was not because she felt that she personally needed those new relationships, but actually she was believing a story about how you should be when you move to a new city and the friends you should have. I know for me, I used to think friendship meant being able to throw a birthday dinner party and being able to have like 6 to 10 people around the table. And I was like, that's how I'll know that I am successful as a person, is if I can gather together enough people to have a birthday dinner party. But my actual life has been this up and down movement of having friends in and out of my life, especially as I've gotten more comfortable with who I really am, what I really want for myself and in my friendships. And I've been able to have those hard conversations where I say, actually, I no longer want to continue this relationship. I do want to name though, that's not a thing I'm regularly doing. I've had many friendships where I just slowly like slide on out of there because it is too hard to have that conversation, and it does take a lot of emotional vulnerability. But for me, that's made it so that I have very few friends from childhood, you know, like basically every 3 to 5 years, I have like a new cycle of people come in and out of my life because I am sort of constantly changing. I do have people who have stood the test of time, and I appreciate them so much. And it tends to be that we have those things in common. Like you said, we're very committed to our growth. We're very committed to love. We're very committed to like rooting for ourselves and each other. So it's very supportive. And those kinds of healthy relationships are the ones that have stood the test of time. And your question's also super relevant because here I am in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. The question for me is like, do I want to similarly build this community of beautiful friendships? And I must say I'm not in a rush. You know, when I think about being in this new city, I'm really here for my own emotional journey. And I know that as I continue to focus on myself, the people who are right for me will come and will be attracted. And what's been really helpful in my healing emotional journey has been really understanding the depths of how much I want that connection. When I was younger, I got very used to only having a little bit of love and support and connection and community. And so I got so comfortable with saying, oh, I actually don't need that much, that I denied the truth, which was that, of course, deep down, I think we all want deep, close, beautiful, meaningful friendships and relationships. And really reckoning with how hard it was for the young version of me to like want that so badly and not get to have it is what's allowed me to really release a lot of my fear and resistance around relationships. Because this is something Thomas Hubel said about when we truly love one another, when we're really in a beautiful, strong relationship, we're okay with disappointing the other person. Disappointing the other person isn't going to be the end of the relationship. It's not so fragile that a single disappointment will be the end. And what I found is that because my hold was so tenuous and it was so like, just like desperate, my relationships and my friendships, I found that there would be times when things would come up that would really hurt me, that would be misaligned to me, that would really rub me the wrong way. But because I had such lack and scarcity around those friendships, I would keep those things to myself and I would bottle them up and bottle them in instead of expressing them, which meant that over time, that led to this resentment and to this bitterness that eventually ended the relationship. So the very thing I was trying to avoid, which was the end of the relationship, happened inevitably because I wasn't safe and secure enough in myself that I could name and say those things to my friend and know that we had a container that was strong enough to handle it. So my invitation to you would be to continue doing your own work. And that's really all you can do. You can't really ever control what's happening outside in the world separate from the way you feel in your body and what you're attracting. So I think as you do your own inner work to ensure that when you're in these beautiful relationships that are inevitable, you're able to fully express yourself. You shared a little bit more in your email about some of the things you've gone through, and you've mentioned how a lot of that led to you really questioning and doubting your own self-esteem, and that's led you to having to do a lot of work to really repair that. And in relationships, a lot of the work we've done, a lot of the healing we've done really gets tested. So you may feel like, wow, I've done a really good job, I've really healed this, that, and the third, I'm ready for this beautiful friendship, this beautiful relationship. And then actually once you're in it, you're like, oh, there's still a little bit more work to be done here. That's been my experience again and again. And so I think just continuing to focus on you knowing truly that you are worth and deserving of these beautiful relationships, and that who you are, you're worth sharing how you feel all the time, you're never too much. The more you're able to really reinforce that, really like build these pillars and like pour into your own soil and like ground yourself in this knowing, you'll attract the people anyway. It's easy. Like I'm at the point where people literally leave comments, hi Brittany, where they're like, hey girl, can we be friends? So people like literally, I just emanate my energy and people are like, wow, I love that. Can I be friends with you? So I think the more you embody who you are, you embody that light, it's not gonna be about you having to go out and search for these people and for these friends. They're gonna naturally make their way to you. So that's the more sort of spiritual like approach you can take. And then if you want a more practical, logistical approach, my closest friends have come from me making choices about my life and then meeting people who have made similar choices. So for instance, when I lived in the DC area, I was a part of this arts group called The Sanctuaries. It was interfaith, so it already like brought people who had enough of their own spiritual grounding that they could have beautiful healing relationships with folks from other spiritual belief systems. It was focused on diversity, so it had like a huge different people from different backgrounds and colors and cultures, all these different things. And it was social justice, so it was focused on people who really like cared about the world and cared about themselves in the world. So those three pillars attracted people who were exactly on the same wavelength as me. And it was very scary. I still remember the day. I had a friend who was already in it, hey Celia girl. So I had attended a couple of the events, but they were having like an all community gathering. And it was like the first time to truly make a choice to be a part of the community. I had taken a nap that day and I'd woken up from the nap and I was like, I could go back to sleep, or I could do this thing that's really scary and meet these new people and make these new friends. And in that moment, I knew that this was a choice that would like direct my life. And I was like, we know what happens if you just go back to sleep and take the nap. Your life continues in the same trajectory. The only way to have a different life is to make different choices. And so I made this other choice to go to this meeting. Like the organization turned into a nonprofit, I became a board member. I made friends that I still talk to this day. This was back in like 2016, 2017. It changed my life in such an incredible, beautiful way. That was me sort of listening to the part of me that said, we want and we yearn for something better. And I know you've been disappointed in the past, but actually keep giving yourself a chance to have beautiful friendships and relationships. The two other ways that I've made the friends that I really feel the closest to, one is from Remote Year. So Remote Year is a travel program. I did it from 2018 to 2019 for a full year. Every year you travel with a group of people to a new country. I have a referral code in the bio and I've made many videos about the experience. It's been really a game changer in my life. I really think I'm only here in Playa because of Remote Year, because I didn't really understand that this life was actually possible until I got to experience it for myself. I will never stop talking positively about Remote Year, even though, like anything, it does have its challenges. In signing up for that program, similarly, it attracted the people like me. It attracted people who like wanted adventure, who were a little reckless, you know, who weren't scared of being in new situations with new people, who wanted to learn new things and be in new cultures, who were okay with some of the like uncertainty of life and would go with the flow. These were ways of being that really resonated with me. And as a result, there are people that I've truly never talked to again since doing that program. And there are others who have become truly some of the dearest friends in my life. When you just sign up and choose to do things and do activities that speak very much to your heart, you're gonna attract other people who have that same mindset. And the final thing is the Timeless Wisdom Training. This is a 2-year program focused on healing personal, ancestral, and collective trauma. It was actually a friend of mine from remote year who told me about Thomas Hubel, and then I signed up for this 2-year program. These are people who care about healing. They've dedicated their lives to being healers of some sort, coaches, therapists, this group of people who really are committed to knowing that they can have a better, more beautiful life, that the world itself can be better and more beautiful, that they have a role and a responsibility in making that shift. And that's exactly how I feel. The demographic is more skewed to like older folks. A lot of the folks are white. I've continued to make really beautiful friendships within that community, and it's been incredibly healing. And it's new. It's only been, this year that I started that program. So in terms of the practicality, think about the things that you know that you want to do, that you love to do. Feel into what you're called to do, which programs and experiences and events really call you. Let yourself listen to that calling, and you're gonna meet and find people who have similarly been called, and you'll be able to walk together and support each other on your journey. I hope this is helpful, Adele. Let me know in the comments if it was. Thank you for your question. She sent it to me via my email, which is biz.chimdihazy@gmail.com. So if you don't feel so comfortable putting your question in the comment section, feel free to email me there. If you actually wanna hop on a video call and get into it, you can put some time on my Calendly. Thank you, Patreon people. Y'all are the best. I love you. And I will see the rest of y'all in another video. Bye.